Hello and welcome to Universal Love Law. And if this is your very first time, welcome back. Today I want to discuss this T square energy. So the T square is something that you may see in your chart. It's a geometrical pattern that is formed when there's opposing planets that are also creating squares that align with each other. The focal point will be the apex, which is a very important aspect of the T square. So first and foremost, I'm going to break down the T square and just based from the aspects, right? So the opposition, the square, and how it plays out, including the apex. Then I'll put in some characteristics of one that has this T square energy. Towards the very end of the video, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of the T square in a celebrity's chart. So Sis Spakes, which she played in the movie Carrie, so I'll get into hers because she actually has a T square, which is very interesting. So if you want to see how it kind of plays out realistically or in real time, towards someone that you can actually see it in their chart, which I will show the T square inner chart and the chart and everything, you can stick around to get that information as well. So for those of you that do have the T square in your chart, you'll be able to see that by when you do your astrological birth chart, and it will show you the geometric pattern that's formed. And so there's different softwares that make it really easy, like I believe Astro Charts. So Astro Charts, they actually do a really good job in showing the major aspects, which that's what the T square is. It's a major aspect pattern that's formed in that circular chart, right? And so you'll be able to see it if you go onto that website. Other websites, they don't really say that. So if you don't know, I would encourage you to go to that website. Now, if you do know and you've had experience understanding the T square, but you just want to really get clarification or a little bit more in detail on how it can play out for you, then stay tuned. So first and foremost, there is the opposition in the two squares that is really forming an energetic signature that can ultimately in one's lifetime, create great achievements and great success. So the overall theme for the T square is tension that is caused from opposition. So is caused from obstacles. There's tension, which is the square energy, that is caused by obstacles, which is the opposition energy. That with working together, time, experience, tests, and challenges in one's life will create the apex effect, which the apex is the way that the energy is released or the outlet for that tension. So you want to know what that planet is that's causing the apex. So I have the shape of the T square on the screen. The very far left of that red triangular shape is the opposition. And then when you see the two lines coming together with the two squares, those are the those two end planets of the opposition are forming squares with this apex planet. So it's really interesting. So one wants to know, what are these planets? What planets are forming the opposition? What planets are forming the squares? What is the modality? Is it fixed? Is it mutable? Is it cardinal planets? What planets are these houses in? You want to know, what are the opposition houses? What house do these planets fall into? What house does the squares fall into? Because that will show you what area of life that this T square energy, which is causing tension to create an outlet, an outcome for either success or for learning purposes. You want to know what area of life will that be playing out. And another thing is, one wants to know planets that the opposition is in and the squares are in and the epochs are in, because that will show you the characteristics. So each of the planets have its own way that it kind of plays out for ourselves. The planets that are personal would be the sun, the moon, and the rising. So if you have your sun, moon, and rising that is affecting your T-square, this is going to be a common energy and a common situation that's playing out for you in your life, because it's affecting your personal planets, which we're tapped into all day, every day, consistently throughout our life, throughout our day. Whereas the even the Venus, Mars, and Mercury, these are personal planets as well. So when it goes to the further outer planets, these will be more subconscious energies. And if it's your first house, which is your ascendant, that's a personal planet, so it will be affecting your personality. And if it's your 10th house, it will be affecting your career in that area, which is the MC medium coolie. So if you have that in the T square, it will affect you as well. So it's very important. So I'm going to, in the celebrities, Sissy, the one that did the Carrie movie, she actually has her first house, which is the ascendant, and her medium coolie in the T square. So that's really prominent for her, and I'm going to explain that once I get to that part. But as for you guys now, let's jump right on into understanding this opposing energy. So remember, the opposition that is in the T square will bring forth the lessons, because it feels like the struggle. It feels like the hurdle, the obstacle. It's two opposing energy that is difficult to infuse, right? These are two sides of the same coin. It's just two different ways about going about expressing that energy. So for the opposition, you want to see what are those planets opposing, because it will show you the lesson, the learning lesson, the difficulty. Okay. It's where the energy is separate here, but it's causing some tension because there's a yearning to want to integrate this opposing energy. But it will bring fulfillment when one knows how to balance in between that energy. Now, when it comes to the square, the squares are going to be the underlying conflicts. So that we all have, so the T squares, people that have T squares in their chart, you're going to have this obstacle feeling, because the opposition presents the obstacles. And the opposition stores energy that is tension building up slowly, right? Whereas the squares will cause the reaction to this built up and pent up opposition energy, this obstacle. The squares, okay, so that's where the action will come in. And usually this is quick, this is combusted, this is work ethics that is very fast. These people work super fast. These people want to get things done quickly, or they could be extremely impatient in their demeanor or approach to work, or when it comes to whatever the square energy is, right? So another thing is the tension that is not released through actions caused by the squares will result to unsuccessful or undesirable outcomes. So remember, the outcome is always the epics, which is the solution. That planet that's forming that triangle point is the focal point in the way that all of the energy is going to play out. It's the outlet for that tension and the action, right? The opposition being the tension, the squares being the action that is directed from the tension. So now that one understands when it comes to this energy, it's going to cause a lot of friction. People with the T square energy, they feel like it's hard to relax. And when they do relax, it's really a time where they need to reflect on this area of their life that they feel like they just can't get. The T square people will feel like they want to accomplish something so bad, and when they go about accomplishing it, it's done in a very impatient way, because square energy is not patient. It's not easy. It's a learning opportunity. It's a learning situation. So there's a lot of irritation involved in the way a person's directing their energy. And so there's this very competitive, self-competitiveness, feeling as though a lot of stress is caused, a lot of struggle is caused when it comes to this action that is necessary and needing to be taken forth. So the opposition, remember, will create the obstacle, the square will create the action, and the epics will be the solution. So this is the outcome. The epics is always the outcome. So these people that make mistakes often will ultimately have an outcome that is undesirable. But that's fine, because square energy is a learning experience for us. The epics will direct the goals. It will be in the direction in which that tension is. It's an outlet for that tension. The epics, it's an outlet for that square or that frustration and stress and that trouble, competitiveness, difficulties that is caused from this opposition, which is the obstacles. So these people they have this naturally opposing energy within them that is driving them towards wanting to go after something, usually some type of passion or something that they're into. But it's so hard to do it because the energy is so fast paced. The square will create you to act without thinking. So these people just react. They're more responsive. And then the square will also create one to look back and reflect. So the more of this kind of balancing effect, or this kind of yin and yang energy, where a person is learning to integrate this challenging obstacle, and they understand how that they go about it may be very impulsive or do now think later. The more that they do these type of experiences, which are all tests, they will eventually master this T square energy. These people will be very good at problem solving and in very intense situations. These people will be able to master any type of talent or gift that they have through trial and error. These people can beat themselves up a lot when they do not know how to do something. When they feel this passion, desire, which is that opposition energy, but they don't know how to go about doing it. So they work really hard, really fast, and then they realize that the apex, which is the outcome, is not desirable. But the more that they have these challenges presented to them, which is going to be inevitable in life, these T square people naturally feel like they have to accomplish something or achieve something. So on their road to greatness, they realize that they do it in such an impulsive or instinctual way that it's kind of hard to integrate. So there are those people who have trine energy, right? Where it feels like so easy to get their goals accomplished. But these people with T square energy, they feel as though it's more challenging to get their goals accomplished. And there's more stress when it comes to it, but these people become masters because they push themselves to great depths. They push themselves to achieve through this very unique way, this unique energy signature that they have within themselves. So don't be surprised if you find yourself very drawn to wanting to achieve something, but every time you go after it, you do it so impulsively and you just do things on the rip, and then you don't like your outcome of it, and then you go back to the drawing board. These people need to learn to rest, take breaks, come back when the energy is renewed, and try again. These people should never, ever, ever give up, because when they don't give up, eventually they will become masters at it, and this tension will be a hidden gift, like more like a hidden jewel for them. They will be able to tap into that chaotic energy and bring order. Like with great chaos, they will find order in great chaos because they know how to play with that energy so naturally. So now let's jump right on in with the actor Sis Specs. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. So this is an actor and a songwriter. She played in a bunch of movies. I believe the Carrie movie came out during the 1970s. As you may have, some people may remember that the young lady who played the Carrie Specs, she played that role very, very well. She had a very intense personality, and she was very strange to her schoolmates, her classmates. They played a prank on her, but they didn't realize that she had these gifts, these spiritual gifts that in turn, when they played the prank on her, she used to hurt people. She always knew she was unique and different, and everyone around her did, but she actually started to develop her telepathy and her spiritual abilities, and it ultimately caused her downfall. Now, I'm not going to focus more so on the character Carrie when it comes to this T-square. I'm going to focus on the actual actor because she has this placement in her chart. So Sis Specs has this T-square in her chart, but it's not just with 3 planets. She actually has it with, I want to say, what, 5? I mean 6 planets. So if you take a look at her chart, I did get her chart from Astro Charts, excuse me. And I used that website because her birth time was excellent. So that means that she may have done a birth chart. She knows her exact time of birth and everything. And astrologers have used her actual chart before. So basically, this is the way that her chart looks. And if you take a look at those red lines, this is what this is. There's that geometrical pattern. Now, she has multiple geometrical patterns in her chart, which is a lot of energy in her energy signature. But we're going to focus on the T-square. When you take a look at that shape, that geometrical shape, you can find the T-square for the more advanced ones. But for those of you guys who want to see it clearly, here is a very distinct picture of her T-square that is in her chart. So the planets that are affected for her is Sun, Ascendant, Medium Cooley, which is 10th house, Uranus, and her Mars. And the Sun is in Capricorn, and her Ascendant is in Virgo. Her MC is in Gemini. Her Uranus is in Cancer, and her Mars is in Virgo. So the very interesting thing that we see first and foremost is there are multiple planets that are creating the square energy. So if you guys can see, her Sun and her Ascendant is squaring her MC, which is the medium Cooley, and the Uranus. So that is her Sun in Capricorn, her Virgo Ascendant, as well as her Gemini MC, medium coolie, and her Uranus in Cancer. So follow me, right? So when we're taking a look at her chart, first and foremost, we see that there's multiple planets affected. It's not just like two planets. So when we take a look at the opposition, her sun stands on the opposite end of that opposition, with her sun is opposing her MC, which is the 10th house, as well as her Uranus. So Uranus energy is very unique, and it's very original, and it deals with intelligence. And for her, this is an intelligence in her career. So she has this very unique ability to embody different characters very well, which is that Uranus, which is her ability to embody these characters very geniusly. She has very good insight when it comes to becoming these characters in her 10th house of her career. So this is in opposition to her sun, which is their sun is in Capricorn. So I'm going to talk about her energy in this T square, and then I'll get into the houses that they fall in. So first and foremost, we know that the opposition is between her sun, her Uranus, and her MC. So remember, when we go back to understanding the T square, that opposition is always going to present itself as an obstacle. So obstacles are what? Meant to be overcome. So if you have an opposition in your chart, you want to see with that T square energy, you want to see where's the obstacle to overcome. So for her, and I have done some research watching her interviews, she really put a big emphasis on embodying the character that she played. So she would spend a lot of time with these people that were in the roles of that she played. So there are some that were fiction and nonfiction characters. Now her nonfiction characters, no, her nonfiction characters, yeah, which were the actual true character. They were real life people. She spent a lot of time with them. She would tell them, "Hey, I'm gonna copy you. I'm gonna mimic you, but don't take offense to it. I'm going to just, because I need to embody it." What is that? That's sheer intelligence to be able to mock someone completely, uniquely, the way that they are. It's not easy to be a mocker, but Uranus energy definitely can make a person mock someone very, very good. That's that Aquarius energy. They are just really good at playing someone else. So for her instance, it's in Cancer. So she may have taken her time really nurturing herself. Cardinals, they work really hard. Cardinal signs work. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty. Now, her Uranus in Cancer was that's aspecting her 10th house Gemini energy is making her very unique, and being able to tap into that intelligence and that other consciousness of another person, being able to embody another's personality. But ultimately, it's opposing her sun. So her career, it's inevitable for her to be drawn, which is her sun. Her sun energy is her vitality, her energy level, the way she's showing up in the world, right? And her sun is in Capricorn, so this is someone who's very grounded and practical when it comes to their work ethics. They take their work very seriously, and they take their work step by step, brick by brick, making them masters of themselves in the work that they do. So there's always this. So she could have been very hard on herself when it comes to embodying these characters. Remember, and it goes even further because her ascendant is in this. It's in the play. So remember, her ascendant is in Virgo, 28 degrees, and that is squaring that Uranus 10th house energy, right? Her Uranus and her MC, which is her 10th house energy, her medium Kuli, is squaring her ascendant. So there is a very challenging difference in how she looks physically or acts, like her personality style is very different. So she may have been drawn to roles that she had to completely transform herself. See, that is the Uranus energy. Her Uranus is making a square to her ascendant. Remember, the ascendant is our personality and how we is literally our body movement, our actions, reactions, the way we look, our physicality, and it's the way that we present ourselves. Now, her ascendant is in Virgo, so that's mutable. She's able to become anything that she tries to, but it's hard. And this is what it's difficult and it's frustrating. And to her, it may have been very challenging to embody these characters and cause a lot of stress, but it stimulated her. And this is where her success comes from. Her being able to have this square energy in the way that she is directing her personality energy, which is also connected to that ability to embody characters, which is her 10th house, her work. She's an actor, but it's aspecting with that Uranus energy. So it's a higher knowledge and a unique ability. It's the awakener in sudden action. So she was probably able to, with long, hard efforts and practice, tap into another person's personality and be able to embody it so precisely, which is it's complete genius. That's a just like there's musical geniuses. There are also other art forms that people just naturally are just gifted at presenting to the world. So when we also take a look, we see here that her Mars is also in Virgo, is squaring her sun. So this is really going to make her very hard on herself. She's going to be very hard on herself the way that she is projecting her actions. Her actions, she is very analytical. Her that Virgo energy is the analyzer, someone that can observe a person, places, or things and really figure out in its totality the essence behind it, whether it's information. But for this actor here, which is Suspects, she was able to analyze these actors with and notice everything about them. Excuse me, not these actors, these characters. This was her world. It's her job. It's her 10th house. She put her all into the work that she does. I would just encourage you, take a look at her interviews. You will see that the way that she would go about like talking about how she embodied these characters, it makes so much sense now because her actions is to embody these characters. That's her Mars energy. It's the way that she is driving her talent, her gift. And as it is forming a square to her sun, that is how you see how the T square kind of really will play out. So you want to look at the planets that are involved. For her, it's her ability to assert herself, which is her Mars. It's her personality. That's the way she's embodying these characters with great intelligence because Uranus is on her 10th house. So she has an intelligent, unique ability to create these characters and she feels very drawn to it, but it's not easy. But when she practices and practices and keeps at it, she eventually becomes a master. She even said in her video, in her interview, that it was hard for her to get out of character because she was so in tune with the character that she was portraying. So that is that Virgo energy, that Mars energy, that ascendant energy. She's able to analyze how a person is, analyze with great abilities. Virgo is the analyzer, right? And she was also able to act like them, act like that person. That's mutable energy. And she's acting like these people. It's her job. She's acting like she's creating a role for herself. And her job is the 10th house, that MC, the medium coolie on her Uranus. So she's doing it with great intelligence. She's able to take her time nurturing herself into this character. Remember, Uranus in Cancer. She's able to become these in people. But it wasn't easy because the work that she does, she even said in one of her interviews, she says she had completely got the character down packed, and then the lady left because she was actually playing the role of someone real. And then after, when it was time to start filming, she was like, "No, bring her back. I'm not ready. Like, bring her back. I want to watch her more. I want to go out around town and watch how she interacts more so I could get it down packed." So the T square will always make a person be driven to wanting to accomplish something. The goal looks different for everyone. Whereas for this actor, she is Specs is she's driven to embody these characters and become the best, absolute best actor she can be but for her it would be different than another person acting. Their goal or their luck or their intention or their energy signature in their chart will be different. For her, it's getting these characters down packed. And it's really unique the way life will play out for our betterment due to our energetic signatures. And when we're born here with these energetic geometrical patterns, life will naturally gravitate these type of experiences to us. So she was faced with a lot of challenge to embody these characters, but with time, patience, I mean, she's going down as a great, right? Her movies that she played, including Carrie, is like one of this movie was remade, right? Because it was just so amazing. Now, actors play a very important role in making these movies and musicians with songs timeless. And so she did that because of her T square energy, you know, that tension within her to be perfect at what she does, is prominent. So as you can see for cis specs, you want to take a look first and foremost at where are these planets in your houses. So when you look at your T square energy, you want to see what houses these planets falling under. So for the actor cis specs, her houses, when it comes to the first through sixth house, she does have her T square energy affecting and afflicting her first house as well as her fourth house. Her first house is her ascendant, as you can see, is 28 degrees Virgo. So it's right, it's right there on the left hand side. If you can tell, it says containing Mars and Neptune. Now Neptune's degree is not in her T square, so Neptune's not truly affecting the T square, but it is affecting her first house. Her first house, having Neptune there, does give her these actor abilities. Neptune deals with fantasy, illusion, acting, the entertainment industry, recording studios, movies. These are all forms of illusion and creativity. So it makes sense that her Neptune is in her first house. But remember, her first house being in Virgo and being afflicted by her Neptune and also her Mars gives her this really amazing ability or natural gift to being an actor. So Another thing about her is when you take a look at her first house, it's in Virgo and it's conjuncting her Mars in Virgo as well. And this is her ability to become a mutable chameleon, becoming and embodying that character that she's playing, which Neptune will also give her that ability. Now, let's say that she was not utilizing her T square energy in the best way. Instead, she could have been dealing with some major, what is it called? Mental, like schizophrenia type experiences where she's just all over the place mentally, because that's what Neptune can do, especially in the first house. And it affecting her with that Virgo energy, it can make her very in detail about illusions, fantasies, and believe it with her Mars energy. But instead, she's channeling her energy for the better. She's channeling her energy for her greatness. Also, as you can see, her sun in the fourth house is creating her to be very grounded because it is in Capricorn. And it also makes it to where she may have had opportunity or some type of privilege, or some way, somehow, her family may have been travelers or in the industry somehow, because it was just kind of aligned for her. She could also be very secure with her home environment and secluding herself there, isolating herself there to do these amazing roles, right? To embody these personalities, which I actually heard her say in her interview, which is very interesting. Now, when we move into the other half of her chart, we see the T square when it comes to her Uranus energy. It is in the 10th house, right? So that goes back to reinforcing the understanding that 10th house deals with your career. The MC is your 10th house. The medium coolie is your 10th house. So it's reinforced for her career to be centered around some form of intelligence. And for her, how that T square is aspecting her, that intelligence is coming from embodying these characters and being naturally gifted with this ability, but at the same time, her gift is developed through challenges. So as you can see, people that have these T squares, they may not always be, on an actor level or whatever, or on that type of level of fame or notoriety where the whole world knows them, but it doesn't take away from their success or their achievements, or overall what they could possibly achieve with great discipline. So the T square in your chart, you definitely want to see where the epex is, which is that planet that is combining that square energy. That planet is always going to be the outlet for the tension. So you want to look at that planet and see how to become best friends with the apex. Really tap in tune with the apex planet, because that is going to be how you let out your tension from that square, which is the squares are always going to be your action from the obstacle that is within you, something that you feel drawn to overcoming. The obstacles are always going to be something to overcome. The obstacles are the opposition. The squares are the action in which we take that are very challenging because they cause tension. They're usually done before thinking. There's no thought process because there's no understanding. It's like being naive or not knowing what to do. So you just react and respond and you learn from your reactions. People with T squares, these people have this can be very karmic for you, meaning there's a reason for why you have this T square. Karmic does not always mean some bad boogeyman coming to get you or something, right? Karmic can mean that this is something that you must learn and achieve and overcome. This energy signature is something that you need to become in tune with, because in this lifetime you need to learn how to have friction or have this driving force towards accomplishing something or doing something. It will be unique chart to chart. So ultimately, I hope this information has helped you today understanding the T-square. Thank you so much for tuning into Universal Love Law, and peace.